Very nice to be here and to be able to speak to you guys. This is Julian. My name is Tammo. We are Overnice. That's the name of our agency. We come from Berlin, all the way. And what we do when we are what we do is brands and products. So we develop brandings for high-tech startups and also corporates, and then translate them into products. And since about 2 years now, we also work with companies from distributed ledger technologies, so blockchain startups more or less. And it's quite interesting to see like how there are quite some differences, not only when it comes to technology, of course, but also in the way that business is done. And this is what we want to talk to you about. It's not so much about technicalities of projects. It's not so much about the scientific aspects of blockchain. It's really about like the business behind it and running a business with blockchain at its core. So it's just some logos that we like to brag about, but what we actually want to talk about is something that this gentleman here, Theodore Lewitt, in the 1960s, nailed pretty much. He was a professor with Harvard Business, and he published an article called Marketing Myopia, which changed the self-perception of many businesses for good. So what this guy was preaching can be summarized in pretty much one small and what appears to be a simple question. Yeah? What business are you in? What business am I in? What business are we all in, right? And an example that he gives for that is the railway companies of the last century, right? So what do? They build tracks, they operate trains, they sell tickets. So what business are they in? Train business, yeah? One could say. But Lewis says that it's like a very dangerous way to look at oneself, because if that's how you think about your company and if that's how you think about your business, you're prone to getting innovated away and becoming economically obsolete. So what he says, no, you're in transportation business. And there are a lot of implications to that, because if a technology comes along that is able to provide that transportation value to your customers in a better way, then you need to adapt it, or somebody else will, and they will are going to innovate you away, right? So also it tells you who your competition is, because that means you don't need to be the best train company necessarily, but your competition is buses, yeah, it's airplanes and bicycles and such. So all of this, when we look at blockchain, we are a very new technology, so the danger of being innovated away is not that big, but something that we want to argue we are as an industry lacking a bit is emphasizing on customer and user needs and desires. Yeah? What we kind of tend to do is have like a very close point of view on ourselves, and what we think we maybe fail a bit to do is have that proper external view on ourselves. So why is that? Yeah? Why do we come to such an assessment? What's special about blockchain? Actually, quite a bit. Besides all the technical implications, right? Because think about, for example, how companies are funded in this space, right? ICOs. What do I need to do an ICO? Or at least that went on, for last year. You can have a good scientific idea. You can have a proper white paper, and that basically served as the basis of aggregating like millions and millions of funding. No strings attached whatsoever. Yeah? I mean, nothing terribly new here, but if you compare that to traditional business or even startups, you know what you want to do when you want to attract venture capitalists, you need to have a business plan, like a detailed business plan. You need to have like projections, you need to have marketing, you need to have strategies. And all of that is not inherently necessary for a blockchain project, right? Because you were able to receive funding without having all of that. And in that sense, we want to argue that like blockchain's bubble, we're not too sure about that, but what we can say with certainty is that blockchain's filter bubble. Oops. Oh, sorry. These are not my slides. It is a filter bubble, and it is a filter bubble in that sense that, you know, we are people that share the same ideas, share the same vision, and it leads us to neglecting and missing that external view on ourselves, and that people don't necessarily share what we are talking about and what we want to do. And that basically leads to that what we think is a major misconception often is that blockchain is not USP, right? Unique selling proposition. Like, you will have a lot of business models that are, I'm doing this and that, but on blockchain, and they expect that to work, right? They expect people to also be able to understand that and relate to that. And if you think about other popular technologies, for example, robotics or drones, right? That's something that's really easy to experience. You know, we had robot toys when we were children. You can touch a robot even, you know, it's interactable. And same goes, for example, for stuff like VR. I can put my phone in a rack and I got a VR rack. I see and know videos of people tripping over because, you know, the mind is tricked by virtual realities. And that even goes for that even goes for technologies like AI or machine learning. You know, stuff that's immensely complicated, but that I'm able to relate to. That stuff that I can relate to because there are a lot of cultural references. You know, we've seen The Matrix, we've seen Terminator, so what it even does, it even gives us a bit of advice to it, you know, it tells us, okay, like this one might be a bit dangerous, so take it with a grain of salt. Blockchain, not so much, right? I mean, people struggle, like, we try to find good metaphors, we try to explain it in an easy way, but very often we kind of fail with it. And I guess you know that experience when you try to explain what you're doing to your friends and families, right? You are enthusiastic about it. You want to tell me, yeah, that this thing is great. It's going to change the world, and maybe feel a bit like Prometheus bringing fire to mankind, right? And now my totally spoiled. But very often you look like that guy, right? Because it's so complicated, you know, and you jump from one thing to the other and get all confused about it. And that's even one of the better cases, honestly, because at least what you're getting along is that you're passionate about it, right? But very often that's not the case, and you're more like that guy, you know, teaching with an air of superiority to it that is kind of dangerous to the whole cause, because people, and again, now talking from a product building perspective, right? Your customers and your users really don't want you to teach them. Yeah? So, if you want people to use your blockchain product, there are basically two ways. You can enable them to understand blockchain. You can do it. Okay, I'll just do it like that. Or you can eliminate the need to understand blockchain. And well, obviously the truth is somewhere in between, right? It's not only the one thing, it's not only the other thing, but what maybe might make more sense is something that we can pretty much test here. You know, like, don't worry, I'm not going to actually ask you to do it, but what would you say, you in this room here, who would feel halfway comfortable explaining how Bitcoin works? Who's able to do that? One guy? Two guys? The rest not? Okay. Not so overwhelming how I hoped it would be, but think about like who's able to explain how this works. You know, it's a bit of unfair comparison because of course you have like the hardware component to it, but still, you know, my mother can use a smartphone, and that's incredible actually because she can't use any tech at all, and that is something that we really also need to emphasize about blockchain. Because in the end, you know, what you need to do is you need to make the user understand your value proposition and not how it works. Because if we come back to our friend Louis who said, what business are you really in, right? When we look at cryptocurrencies, for example, which is, I would say, the most common implementation or use case for blockchain technology, is that we find a bit of a rat race, right? Who can fit the most transactions into a block? Who's able to have the fastest consensus? Yeah, what kind of consensus algorithm are we using? But like all of these things, they don't matter to the user at all because they are A, not understandable, and B, they are hardly applicable to my own situation, to my own value. And people are not going to say like, yeah, it's great that you're smarter or better or faster than this and that cryptocurrency. They're going to compare you to those guys on the right. And I mean, these companies are a competition of their own, you know, like that are able to do a lot of those business-related stuff way better than the blockchain community is doing right now. But that is not necessarily bad because in the end, if you look at the logos on the left side, there is a heap, like there are this a lot of use cases and end-user applications that we can actually use and that we can explain to our users without explaining the whole concept of blockchain necessarily.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty dark because we actually, if we say blockchain is not a use field, what is the use case? What actually is the competitive advantage of blockchain? Of course, there are quite some. So. As an example, of course, we have decentralization and to build, which in the end is great, but it's also not understandable. It's not applicable as the user base. What it may mean is that you will never lose data. What it may mean is that you will probably you don't lose your data. So, as one example, in a big refugee camp, there was a pilot project of the UNESCO, I think, where they kind of stored all identities of people that are living there on a blockchain that makes them actually helps people that lost all their documents while fleeing the country to have basically immutable proof of their identity along the way. Or like one more is that you could enable something like browser mining, which itself is great, but it also is not applicable here. It means that I can get rid of advertising on the publisher side, so I may find alternative ways to pay for streaming services like Netflix or something, which is especially interesting if you don't have a credit card or a bank account, for example. Or as another example, we have censorship resistance, which is also maybe one of the more applicable things about the blockchain, but it's not a use case yet. It means that you have independence, which in the one example, when Julian was banned to use lots of fiat money. He had the opportunity to get it into Bitcoin, and was still paid. That's what it's about. So it's not about technical features, but about what it means for user. So this all sounds great, but still, it's like, even if you see those advantages, it's super hard to actually use them because it's hard to get in. Because in the end, it's still super complicated. Imagine you're a person with little knowledge about tech, and suddenly someone explains to you that you can't trust the bank anymore, or a person or company with a faceless network that is not even under any human control whatsoever. Of course, that's scary and it's hard to trust if you don't know what's going on. In the end, it's not just learning about new technology, it's about learning about a whole new paradigm, right? So that's hard, and that's something a lot of people already try to explain. Some better, some worse. Well, you have like, if you want to create a, basically, if you want to create a, an account there, you have to go through all those slides. They explain to you what can go wrong, what responsibilities you have. It's like super scary. It's a lot, and you probably won't do it at all because it's just like, it feels like I can do so many things wrong that I rather not do it. At least that's my experience. Then there are some good examples. This should be a video, it's not, but still it should explain how Bitcoin transactions work. Basically, you have buses that should be blocks, you know, and you have people getting into those buses that represent transactions, and it's a playful way how to show how the thing works, which doesn't scare me, and it also kind of makes me want to try it out. But still, like, in the end, understanding how it works is not even needed. It's not like it's not needed for understanding what it actually means for the user. That's what it's about. You know? It's about what it means for me as a user. And what it means is that I have a whole new set of responsibilities. I have to remember my own key, I have to secure my account, I have to back it up, I have to try to make sure that this backup doesn't get stolen or destroyed, because nobody else has it and I can't restore or recover it. So our task when building a product is to not take for granted that people actually have any understanding of why they have to do that stuff, or like why it matters, why it's necessary, and also to not take for granted that they actually want to do this. What we should do is make those new responsibilities feel as little different as possible from what people already know, and as logical and comprehensible as anyhow possible to get like this, to reduce this barrier of getting in as much as anyhow possible, because that's the only way how to get a lot of people into a whole new thing, like a whole new way of doing things that they don't know about. And also we have to think about when in the user journey those responsibilities actually make sense. So we worked a lot with Nimiq in the last month, and one thing we found out is that that you have to confront people with all those security features like recovery words, passphrase, and all those backup options and education and what you want to get an account. And that's a lot, and it's overwhelming, and it keeps a lot of people from actually doing it. And what we found out in the end, also while doing tests with people that it's not really necessary to have a backup when you don't actually have something to back up. It's like what a lot of projects actually do. So it may not even be important to have a password right away. It's like all things that actually only make sense if I actually have to secure anything. And because of that, in the end, we came up with a simple three-step flow that like for getting into that product that doesn't have any of those necessarily. Of course, you can have a password right away, but it's not even necessary if you all you want to do is try it out, see what this actually is. And that's something that may apply to a lot of blockchain-based products, because we have to get more people in. We have to make it as easy as possible for people to try it out, as little barrier as possible. So another thing is that mistakes are not really small, and in general way more expensive. There's no password recovery, there's no refund if anything goes wrong. I don't only have to trust this case network, but also I have to trust my own actions in a way that I didn't have to before. And that's a lot of new things that I care about. So there's another Nimiq example now. So of course you always have those really long addresses, right, when you want to send a transaction. And it's really hard to actually really be sure that you don't have a typo, because it's like you can't really have it in one side. It's the same. It's probably the same problem with all bank accounts. But what happens here is that like each address actually has a avatar-like image attached to it, which always stays the same for this address, which has colors, which has some unique features, and I can control if I really have if I really paste the right account number that I want to send some funds to by just comparing those items. What we want to do with that is that we have a more light-footed user interface, but also in the first place make it less possible for people to actually make it. And that's what we should try to do in a sphere where actually you can't undo it. Another thing is that a lot of common mental models in the interface, interaction patterns that we know from traditional products all the time. In a decentralized network account, it's just like I have a private key, a public key, or even a hard code, and nothing is stored on the server. I can't restore my password. There's no privacy settings on my account or something. Because in the end, everything is public and so if we keep that in mind, building a blockchain-based product often means sacrificing a lot of convenience. But if we say that blockchain is not the USP actually, then we also maybe shouldn't be so dramatic about it. And then, you know, maybe it's a good idea to use a centralized service to, for example, have my contacts or some interface settings between my stored and synced to my devices or something. Or it may even be a good idea to have like the login information somewhere stored to have like email and password functions, which is of course exactly the opposite of what we want when we talk about decentralized product, but it may be exactly what people want. May not, like, may be okay. So, of course, let's not compromise in integrity. Let's also not force people to get the full package if all they want is actually let's just not be too dogmatic about it and make it possible to build products that are, of course, built on blockchain, but are not only. So maybe one last sentence about this. Of course, blockchain may be the reason why products exist and why we all here. In the end, it's not necessarily